This is brutal as another shootout puts Canucks fans on high alert with disappointing consequences as this road to the playoffs gets even tougher with every single game once we get momentum. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, so first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Canucks updates as we head into the final game of this 6-game road trip. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is that was brutal. And what I'm referring to, of course, was the shootout loss that we just endured at the hands of the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was a must-win game. We were able to steal a point. We're getting this recorded just before we hear Rick Tocchet and other players' post-game comments, so we'll probably drop a video on that tomorrow or later on tonight. But as far as the game at hand, when you look at the score by period, it's a mystery as to how exactly Vancouver allowed this game to get away from them and ultimately choked this game, where you see 3 goals in the second and third period from Columbus after Vancouver came out firing on all cylinders in the first period. Second period, we dwindled a lot, but we kind of picked it up a little bit more in the third period once we kind of got things going, and then it was just all downhill from there. And looking at the scoring, it was a very, very electric game, and I got to give props to the AHL call-ups that we had in this game. Linus Karlsson, Aatu Räty, Jonathan Lekkerimäki as well had a really solid game. There was a lot of guys that were brought up in this game that definitely stepped up to the plate, and none bigger than Aatu Räty. And then, of course, to no one's surprise, Pius Suter and Quinn Hughes also handling business with a multi-point night. And then you have Kiefer Sherwood as well with a multi-point night. So there was a lot of opportunities and a lot of scoring for this team. And then, of course, you have Brock Boeser as well. Pius Suter and Brock Boeser, if they aren't getting extended at the end of this season, I don't know what the Canucks are going to do, because since being our number one center for the past few games, since Elias Pettersson's been out, Pius Suter has been pretty fantastic. Aside from the face-off circle, there's been a lot of struggles there, and a lot of people have been talking about that. But overall, Pius Suter has been fantastic, filling in for Elias Pettersson and just building on a career season. We saw Connor Garland have a career season last year, and we're seeing him have one again this year, and now we're seeing this from Pius Suter as well. So this is a Vancouver team that, as much as everyone wants to dog on the inconsistencies, at least we're producing career years for guys. Yeah, you'll call it stat padding or whatever you want to call it, but at least it goes to show that if Vancouver is fully rolling, this team can be very dangerous. You look at what we were able to do tonight. It wasn't a pretty game by any stretch of the imagination. It was a very ugly game, but we proved that we were able to put up a lot of offense and make a lot of opportunities happen. We got a lot of shots on net. We got a lot of goals. We gave up a lot of goals too. There was a lot of controversial calls in this game. There was a lot of controversial plays. Tyler Myers back checking when he should have forechecked on that overturned goal. That was a big mishap, but he also had the touch of an old nurse with that goal that he had that just floated over the goal line. So that one was also really pretty. But looking at the shootout as well, you had Jake DeBrusk, who also scored tonight, Connor Garland, and Jonathan Lekkerimäki as your shooters. And in my opinion, Jake DeBrusk, makes sense to have him in there. He's been rolling, especially in the shootout. But Connor Garland, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, he was the hero in New Jersey. I know, and that's Mark's guy, so he's not going to like me saying this. But in this situation, you play the hot hand. Räty, he had 2 goals. You throw him in there. You also throw Brock Boeser in there, because Brock Boeser is one of your best shooters. He's one of your best goal scorers. And he also scored tonight. So why not play the hot hands that were already scoring goals? Why put guys in there that weren't producing? Why put guys in there that weren't able to catch the Columbus Blue Jackets off guard? Where Aatu Räty, they didn't know how to game plan for him. He had some really good plays, and he kept us in this game. He was one of the main reasons why this game went into overtime and then into a shootout. Quinn Hughes had a really big opportunity in overtime with a breakaway. Unfortunate to see that not go his way. There was a lot of opportunities we had in overtime where we just could not get it capitalized. There was also a lot of great defense in overtime too. Brock Boeser, he was hustling his ass off trying to get back over into the defensive zone when it looked like Columbus might have had an odd man rush or just was at a really strong 2-on-2. Brock Boeser hauled his ass back. He made the play and stole the puck. So that was really nice. So Vancouver, defensively, there was a lot of holes in this game, but there was still a lot of things that I really did like that they were able to do. We did give up a lot of shots. We did give up a lot of goals. Kevin Lankin, he was locked in for the first period, and then the second and third period, I don't know what happened. I know there was a lot of scenarios where it was just bad bounces. One in the third period where it was just a bad redirect off of Boeser's stick that went into the skate and then right to the stick. So there was some unfortunate ones there, but there were also some times where Kevin Lankinen should have absolutely made those saves. I'm not trying to dog on him and say that he was the reason we lost this game. It's not a one player or anything like that. It's a complete team effort. It revolves around everyone. However, goaltending was a big one in this game, and I was thinking that they might have been pulling him at some point. I know because it was a back and forth game, they kept him in there, But when you give up that many goals, you kind of expect the goalie to get pulled at that point, no matter what the score sheet is. So with that, I'm not sure if Shelovs would have been the right call either, but if you had Demko in this game, it would not have went this way. I guarantee it. Vancouver probably would have ran away with it 5-3 or even more, or they might not have even given up 3 goals in the first place. Might have been even less of goals given up. However, we didn't have Thatcher Demko in here. You had to give him a rest, but this is going to be big because this is a game that I was calling it too. I said I wanted this to go to overtime so we could steal 2 points. We ended up stealing 1. However, it was very stressful. That overtime was insane. I was watching Nux Meme's live stream as well as I was watching it. His stream was a bit behind what my screen was showing. So hearing him say the exact same things I was saying, yelling at my TV, and I guarantee a lot of Canucks fans were also saying the exact same things as well, because that was a very stressful overtime and an even more frustrating shootout. So yeah, there was a lot of things for Vancouver that this game, we weren't playing like a playoff team. Yeah, we put up a lot of points. We had a lot of offense, but in the moments when it mattered, we just could not get it done. We had opportunities. We had bad chances. We had bad chances that we gave up for Columbus. There was a lot of things in this game that just really needed to be cleaned up, especially when we're going against a team that's a President's Trophy candidate in the Winnipeg Jets. So yeah, we beat them before. Let's try and beat them again. And I said it to Mark earlier today too. If Vancouver can somehow make the playoffs, which now our playoff chances aren't looking the greatest right now. I think if it was a regulation loss, we would have dropped down to 9% making the playoffs. I forget what the exact number was for an overtime loss. However, it still is very tricky. We're still 4 points back of St. Louis. We still have 1 game in hand, however. But in this situation, as much as you guys don't want me to say it, I've been saying it for the past few days. We need as many overtime wins as possible right now. Yes, it'll be very stressful. It'll be high anxiety, but it'll be worth it if we can get to the playoffs, because 4 points back, only 8 games left. We gotta step on the gas at some point here. We need to get going. We need to just rip some games off down the stretch. And yes, if the Vancouver Canucks can get into the playoffs, you guys are going to call me crazy on this. If we can get into the playoffs fully healthy, Demko 100%, Höglander 100%, Pettersson 100%, Hedl back at 100%, or at least somewhat 100%, I think this team can beat the Winnipeg Jets. I think we can take them to the deep water. I think we can beat them in 7. And I know you guys will call me crazy, but what we've been able to show here, Jake DeBrusk, Brock Boeser, they've been stepping it up the past few games. Then you have Jonathan Lekkerimäki. He's really breaking out. Aatu Ratu, Pius Suter, of course. And Elias Pettersson was really getting back to what we were wanting to see from him all season before his unfortunate injury. So if we can go into the playoffs, we have those guys. Also, Höglander, can't forget him. He was playing really good before he got hurt. Also, as well as Hedl, all these guys that are hurt right now, they were playing really great before they got hurt. So if we can have those guys back for the playoffs, I think we can see this different Vancouver Canucks team. We've been seeing a different kind of team lately with the past few games. They've been playing more eagerly, playing more desperate, but they've also been playing a lot more aggressive and playing with more passion than we've seen from them all season. So I've really liked seeing that. It just has to translate into just more and more consecutive wins, overtime wins, get as many points as you can when you can. But that's going to be very critical going into the next few games. And looking at the game stats from this game as well, 37-38 on shots. The face-off circle, that has been a killer since we haven't had Elias Pettersson. Pius Suter has been really good at a number 1 center except for face-offs. That has to get really cleaned up. Our penalty minutes as well. We took some really bad penalties. There was one that was an extra 2 minutes to Linus Karlsson, which should not have been assigned. I don't know why they gave it to him for that. It was kind of BS if you ask me. Block shots were solid. The giveaways weren't great, but they weren't terrible. Takeaways, could have had a few more of those. Overall, the face-offs is what really killed us. We were great on the power play. We scored a shorthanded goal even. We were really good at shutting them down, except for that one power play in the third period that they had, where they did score very fast and then scored another goal right after that. Thankfully, we were able to get an equalizer, but overall, face-offs, those are big things we need to win. Obviously, they're major things for momentum, especially when you're in overtime, when you're late in the third period. You need that late game chance to seal the game for you, get you ahead late. Vancouver was missing that tonight, and we desperately needed Elias Pettersson. He has been really good in the face-off circle since before he got injured, and this was a game where we definitely could have used him. As far as scoring, this was a night where, hey, he could have taken the night off. You guys wouldn't have said nothing about it. But if he was winning in the face-off circle, that would have been very key and would have definitely helped us win this game and steal away 2 points instead of 1. But what are your guys' thoughts overall on this game? How did you feel about Vancouver's performance overall? And do you think we can still salvage this for a miraculous playoff spot and hopefully able to go into the playoffs healthy and try and take down the Winnipeg Jets. Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.